this is going to be very difficult to explain. I'm not good at explaining things. Okay, so imagine like a cage that is the mass inside of it, the space inside of it, the open space inside of it is 3 times smaller than your mass. So you're trying to squeeze yourself into a space that's 3 times smaller than you are. That's, your back is like pressing up against the top of that cage, and the sides of the cage are digging, the bars are digging into your ribs, you know, and you cannot move at all, and you can barely breathe. That is going to eventually start to pain you physically. You know, it's not just uncomfortable, it's going to start to pain you. Imagine being like that for nearly 30 years and that you've never been let out. Ever. And imagine also, you know, that even when you want to finally get free, even when you think you deserve it, you forgot now. There's a really easy way out of that cage, but you don't remember. That's what I was dealing with. It was not just a suppression of my spirit, it was suppressing my magic, it was physically affecting my chakras. And I did tons and tons of work just to be able to get my spirit complete again. I finally got all of the shattered pieces back, but even though I was complete, I was still in that cage. And why would I even put myself in there to begin with? Well, I thought if I suppressed who I really was, my family would accept me. Long story short, not true, because they cannot unsee what they've already seen. And as a child, I apparently thought I could make them unsee and forget who I really was. Especially, I was thinking, okay, maybe if I act like that, they won't believe me because they'll realize I'm lying. But what if I convince myself that I'm this weak, frail thing that's harmless? What if I convince myself that then I'd have to be convincing. So intent does a lot of things. It was never my intent to rob myself of my strength or my energy. It was only my intent to trick myself into thinking I was robbed of it. Big difference. It was both the biggest mistake I ever made and also the biggest saving grace that ever happened to me at the same time, essentially. Because had I created that cage with intent to physically take away my strength, it wouldn't be nearly as easy to reverse. Because I crafted it with just a lie, really, it didn't take away anything from me. I just thought it did. So, fast forward, nearly 30 some years later, when my spirit guardians have been telling me for over a decade, well, really, they've been telling me my entire life, but only the past decade have I really been able to communicate with them directly. Okay, so they've been trying to tell me, you know, there's no trick, just end it. Just decide to end it. I keep thinking, but how? There's got to be like, you can't just like think that, like, you know. I had basically brainwashed myself, you know, to think that it was impenetrable and that there's no way out of there, you know, no way out of that cage at all. And yet it was really simple. And I also had brainwashed myself to think I was just a tiny little sliver of what I once was. And I mean that literally. Like, I am a full grown human being, okay? And I feel like I'm smaller than a fingernail. That's what I feel like. I feel like I'm smaller than an ant. Okay? And what I didn't realize is that I'd not lost any of that. My spirit guardians were telling me, okay, look, we've been telling you this for a really fucking long time. And we're giving you all the answers you needed. But there's this person from the spirit realm, and he can kind of make you understand. But we don't have that ability, but he does. So go ask him, he's got some answers. So it's like, okay, here I go again. I do some visionary work and some summoning and things, and try to contact this spirit that I've known for probably centuries, if not thousands of years. He usually stays in the spirit realm, so I don't know him from past lives. I know him from in between lives, where where you die and go back to the spirit realm. Okay, so I know him from there, and I honestly go there expecting nothing. I am a pessimist, so I expect that he's not even going to answer me. But he actually comes pretty much right away. And I think he was expecting I'd eventually come to him for these answers. Because it didn't take long to find him. And the first thing he made me understand was that, no, you're just as much as strong as you were a century ago, 2 centuries ago, 500, 1,000 years ago. You haven't lost anything. That's not how it works. That's not how this works. So first off, you're just as much as strong as you've always been. Secondly, that cage you put yourself in isn't cemented to the ground, so just lift it off you and toss it away, and that's all you've got to do. One of the biggest things that really stuck with me is that he showed me a lot of things that I'd done, both in the spirit realm and in past lives, in the physical realm. And I realized that I've got 2 things about me. I always thought I had to manifest it, that I had to mend in order to get that back, and that's actually reverse. I need those 2 things to help me mend, and those 2 things were locked in a cage. So I had 2 built-in kind of things about me that were parts of me that I thought I had to gain back and grow back, but they're right there. It was the strength that I had, and sort of just a natural protection energy that I had as well, which I won't go into because you don't need to know. But those 2 things, and he had said that a lot of things that I'd survived, very, very few times have my spirit guardians actually had to help me. Things I survived that I should have died from, he said, only when it got really bad did they help you. But most of the time, you survive that on your own through your gifts and through your strength, and just your energy, who you are. He said it's not seen often, but it exists, and it's he put it in this light. He said, you've got all this here, all this strength here that you don't even know you have. Most don't have, and you don't even know you have it. It basically made me aware that it was a mind game I was playing with myself, and there was no need for it. And I had wanted to be free of that game for a decade at least, but I just didn't understand. I thought I was trapped. I thought I was stuck, even though I wasn't. And I desperately wanted free of that cage. And in my mind, I was trying everything, and I really wasn't. I just thought I was. I was legit brainwashed to think that there was no way out of there. And that's the sad part about it. I wasted a decade wanting to be free of that, and thinking there was no way out. But, well, I knew there was a way out, I just didn't think I would be able to do it. And I didn't know how. I didn't know how to get out. And I didn't think I'd ever learn. So it's just, it's despair and hopelessness for that long. After you finally realize your mistake, you waste 10 fucking years to think I could have been out in the forest that long ago. And shifted, at least begun to shift that long ago, had I just realized that. So I'm going to warn you right now, it's not for the faint of heart. I think some people don't mind it, but because most humans are light energy, and I don't mean light and dark and good or bad, I just mean sun, summer, day energy versus dark, which is moon, night, winter, okay, storm energy. There are going to be times on here when, because I'm no longer holding back my energy, there are going to be times on here when sensitive people can probably sense that I've got a little bit different look in my eyes, and that's not something that I can hide anymore, because I chose that. So as a young child, I noticed, before I put that cage up, I noticed that people would look at me strange, and I got two things, just my blank baseline expression. I didn't feel like that at all, but they misperceived it. They said, you look like either you're about to cry or like you're really mad. I can't tell. And or both. And it's like I said, it's just me. It's just my baseline energy. I have a really cold look about me, and in a lot of these past vlogs that I've done, instead of looking like that intense look about me, I probably looked more blank and zombified. Okay. So now that that is getting to a point where it's no longer suppressed, you know, I don't want people to think that I'm about to cry or really fucking pissed off. No, it's just my energy. It's just me, and people who are not sensitive to it, you won't be able to tell a difference. People who are not sensitive to it, they're not going to know. Okay, these are for the clairvoyant people that are highly sensitive. I'm trying to tell you so that you don't misunderstand or misperceive something. Okay. You think about a totem, you know, for example, bumblebee versus a raven. Okay, a bumblebee is light energy, a raven's dark energy. An owl versus I don't know what's another good light energy. A songbird. Okay, it's not that they're bad; it's just different. And naturally, light energy will butt heads with dark energy unless it exists within the same being. Actually have an entire video on that if you want to learn more about light and dark energy and how there's this unique harmony in people that have both within them, but usually you're one or the other. And so because most humans are light energy, then most of them don't understand me. Most of them don't get me. You know, I think a beautiful day is when it's foggy and raining and storming or snowing or, you know, cold, icy. I think that the best time of year is autumn and winter, you know, and I get depressed in summertime, you know, and hot sunny days I think is a horrid, dreadful day. You know, I hate to say it, but I do. I do kind of sound like Morticia, don't I? But I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. I just have this sort of dark energy about me, you know, and I wish that I could. No matter what your energy is, whether it's light, dark, or a mixture of both. To deny who you are and to feel dead inside is the worst thing you could ever do. And so it doesn't matter if people judge me or not. You know, I'm done hiding. I'm done, you know, trying to live in fear of what people might reject me as something. That came from a time in my childhood when I was abused from my family. And I finally realized that, you know, they would have hated me either way. And I think it's the same with this. You're going to hate me either way if you hate me, you know. And I think that showing who I really am is a good thing. You know, I'm different, but it's okay to be different. And I hope that anyone out there like me, or maybe not like me, but who at least is different, realizes that it's okay to be different. You know, I'm also not only just working on the shifting with the therian, the animal soul, the animal side of me, but also shifting from feminine to masculine. And I'm trying to do this through paganism, not through some stupid surgery or taking some kind of unsafe drug that the doctor says is safe. You know, I mean, well, I won't say it's unsafe. That's my personal opinion. So I'm doing this the way that we would have done it thousands of years ago. You know, and you'll see me shift, you know, from feminine to masculine before you'll be able to tell anything about anything else. I'm not going to be physically shifting into an animal, definitely not on here. But, you know, I imagine once I do start practicing that, the animal, shifting into the animal version of me, I do probably expect that there are going to be certain really small features about me that are just ever so slightly different, but that most people wouldn't think anything about. I have a tendency that when I shift, I latch onto it, and I don't want to shift back to human. So I imagine that you might see a very minute change, but most of what you see is not that. It's going to be something that, luckily, nowadays everyone doesn't think is that odd, because there's already science that people can do it through science, and I'm just doing it through magic. But people still think that it's possible, and if I were to show you shifting into an animal, that would unveil something that no one should know. It is hidden for a reason. But I can continue to do these vlogs just from feminine to masculine, because it's something that people know exists. It's and not a lot of people like it. There are a lot of haters out there, but the last thing people are going to think is that I did it with magic. So I can tell you that I've done it with magic, but that's the last thing people are going to think. They're going to think that I just say that, and that really I'm going to a doctor or something and getting procedures done or something. And it's going to be a while until I get to the point where it's brutally obvious. It's going to be a while. So, I mean, it's like a slow progression, I guess, but at least at this point. But it's not like I could prove you to one way or the other. Okay? And I think that's why it's safe. If it's left up to assumption on how I'm doing this, then it's safe. Most people are just going to assume that I did it the way of science, not the way of magic. The problem is, if I were to show you a physical shift, from even a partial shift from human to animal, people are like, well, there's no science for that. How do we explain this? And the only way that they could think is, oh my gosh, it's either faked or it's magic. And we haven't gotten to the point yet on raw video like this. People are at home, just normal people. AI is getting there, but it's not so advanced yet that normal people can use AI and fake a shift like that and have it look believable. So unless that technology exists, people might assume that it's real. That's what I'm trying to say. If people can realize that it's a raw video and that it's not done by a professional, people might actually start to think it's real, and that's the last thing I want. So, that's why I would never show that, unless maybe, of course, the technology presents itself that you literally cannot tell the difference between reality and AI. Okay, and I doubt that's going to happen anytime soon. So, it's just, like I said, when people know that it's real, you get right back to the witch hunt era. You get right back to that. People are going to, they're going to react in fear, most of them. And you don't know what that's going to make them do. And it's not going to be good. So, I know that people are sitting here going, this is boring, why don't you just shift? Especially if you've already shifted partially a couple times, can't you just show us something? And first off, I can't do it on command most time right now anyway. Second off, it wouldn't be safe, even if I could, to just put that out there like that to the rest of the world. I'm sure that the first vlog I did versus now, you can probably tell a slight difference, at least in the way I look gender-wise. But again, that's really slight. It's exceptionally slight at this point. And who's to say that I'm, telling the truth about that? I could be lying. I could just be, like I said, I could be going to a doctor. You don't know. So I'm not worried about that. Like I would be with turning into a fucking animal. That's a lot more obvious. So sorry, I know it's a bit down the rabbit hole, off topic, but I just kind of wanted to point that out because I think I have occasionally in these vlogs addressed that, and I think eventually, it's time to address it again. I like to bring that up every once in a while, just to explain to you that this is not about proof, as it is more so telling you step by step what I have to go through to get it to work. And hopefully you're sitting there going, oh, that's a good idea. I should try that. That might help me too. If I tell you every single step along this path, I do have really short or shortish videos that you can look up on how to shapeshift, the rules about shapeshifting and different kinds of shapeshifting and all. If you want to learn the basic stuff and get your feet wet, I have a bunch of things on that. It's one thing though to know what to do, and it's another thing to actually go through this process. There's all these little tiny things in between that you've got to do. For example, I say that you've got to be balanced in all your chakras. Well, what the fuck does that mean? The past, I don't know how many vlogs have in one way or another been about that balance. And the last thing that was left was that cage to get that off. So, just that many steps I had to do to get to just this point, to get to a point where I'm even partially balanced, and start to try to partially shift, and it's something that I think that it helps people understand, okay, this is what I can expect that I'll have to do apply it to my own circumstance, because your circumstance won't be exactly the same as mine, but you may have different chakras that you need to work on, or different areas that you need to, you know what I'm saying, find balance in, for example. But it's going to be a similar, tedious, meticulous, you're going to have to get a lot of insight, and then you're going to have to turn that insight into wisdom, which basically means using the knowledge you gathered from what you find out and putting it to use and actually doing something with it. It's not as easy as it sounds. So I thought if I can give you examples of going through that process, you can realize, okay, now I know what to do. And you don't feel so stuck, you don't feel like you're in a rut and you don't know what the next step is, and you don't even know where to begin. Because most of us, when we sit there and we try to shift physically into an animal, what happens? Nothing. Even when we've got a gift for it, what happens? Nothing. When something finally does happen, you're like, oh my gosh, there's something is finally oh, it's gone. It starts to happen just for a minute and you're like, no, why did it stop? And that can be really frustrating, especially trying to find out why. What's the blockage there? What's the disconnect there that's preventing you from getting to the next phase? this hasn't just been about random shit in my life. This has been a build-up, a step after step after step, to show you, to take what's happening with me and apply it to your life. That's why I'm doing it like this. And I know that not many of you have even seen this. And if you have seen it, you probably haven't seen all of the vlogs. I wouldn't blame you. But I hope you at least see the really important ones like this one, that explain it to you like this. I hope that you at least find the ones that tell you something you need to know. And I think that'll be different for each person. So every time I'm guided to do another vlog, I do. Because I realise that some vlogs are going to be more, they're going to help certain people more than others, and other vlogs are going to be more helpful to different people. Okay, this is ancient magic, it's forgotten magic, and no one's here to tell you, most of the time, no one's here to tell you it exists. If you do get someone like that, it's probably once, maybe twice in your life, if you're really lucky, twice. Sometimes it never happens. And you have to just go off of your own judgment and go against what everyone in society is telling you. You know, we realize that things are hidden for a reason. Everyone used to believe the entire human existence is thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands probably. I don't know exactly how long. We've been on this planet a long time. We believed in physical, tangible magic like shapeshifting physically until the last couple hundred years. That's not long in history. What happened in the last couple hundred years? We hid. We hid from humanity to survive. And if you hide long enough and no one knows you're there, eventually people stop believing that you exist. I can't say enough. If you want to find some answers, go out into the forest. I'm going to be doing a little bit of a foreshadowing, a little bit of a just a hint, okay? I'm going to be doing something later about some conservation efforts for a specific kind of plant, okay? In part 3 to that, you're going to find out something. I won't give it away, but you're going to find out something. Something is in that forest that's not normal, okay? And that's all I'm going to say. But if you look hard enough in nature, go out into the wilderness, go hiking, go camping, go do something. And if you're worthy of it, you'll start to see things. You're totally sober, and you know you're not hallucinating because bring someone with you, so that you know that. And don't tell them, hey, do you see this? Be completely silent. And if they see it too, and you didn't say anything, then you know that they're not just trying to make you feel better, okay? I had to do things like that to get my mind open to the fact that it could even be real. Because that's what, in society nowadays, that's what we believe. You know, it's only taken a few generations of not seeing proof to realise there's no evidence, okay, maybe it's not real. And you can't go off a herd mentality. You can't go off a mob mentality if you want true answers. You need to go out there and look for yourself. Okay? I'm not saying everything's real, but I'm saying you will find physical, tangible magic if you start going out in the forest looking for it. And I might be the only person to tell you that it's real. I might be the only one. And I think to myself, if I hadn't had someone physically tell me this is real, this can happen, if I hadn't had that tribe in Northwest America show me, that Native American tribe show me that it was real, would I have ever believed it? There's something to be said about a human being telling another human being, hey, guess what? You're not alone. This is real. And you have this gift, by the way. You're actually a part of this magic. It's not just real, you're a part of it. Now, I can't tell you that whether or not you're a part of it because I don't know you. But I can at least tell you it's real, and you can figure out for yourself whether or not you're a shapeshifter. Okay, I did an entire video on that. I had to figure that out. You know, and so it's things like that that no one else dares to tell you, that you may never hear again. And I know that not many people are out there that are going to find this channel, but the ones that do, I really do hope that this brings them some answers.